The morning sun cast long shadows across the cobblestone courtyard of St. Margaret's Cathedral, as hundreds of people gathered behind velvet ropes. Children clutched small British flags while their parents checked their phones for updates. The crowd had been growing since dawn, with some traveling hundreds of miles for this moment. Local shopkeepers had closed their stores early, and even the usually busy coffee shops had emptied, as everyone made their way to witness something truly special. Margaret Thompson, a retired schoolteacher from nearby Whitmore Village, had arrived at 5 in the morning. She wore her best navy dress and the pearl necklace her late husband had given her 40 years ago. Standing beside her was young Emma Clark, barely 8 years old, bouncing on her toes with excitement. Emma's grandmother had promised her this day would be magical, and the little girl believed every word. "When will they come, Grandmama?" Emma whispered, tugging on Margaret's sleeve. The older woman smiled down at her granddaughter, remembering her own childhood fascination with royalty. She had met the Queen Mother once, decades ago, and still treasured that brief moment when their eyes met across a similar crowd. The cathedral bells began their hourly chime, marking 9 o'clock. Camera crews positioned themselves strategically around the square, their equipment gleaming under the morning light. Local police officers walked their routes one final time, ensuring every barrier was secure and every escape route clear. The mayor, dressed in his ceremonial robes, nervously adjusted his chain of office while speaking quietly with cathedral officials. Beyond the immediate crowd, the entire city seemed to hold its breath. Shop windows displayed hastily printed welcome signs, and restaurant owners had prepared special menus for the occasion. The local newspaper had printed extra copies, knowing this day would become part of the town's permanent history. Street musicians played gentle melodies in the distance, their music floating through the air like a soundtrack to anticipation. Father Michael stood at the cathedral's main entrance, his hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the scene. He had served this community for 23 years, baptizing their children and conducting their weddings, but today felt different. The weight of hosting such distinguished guests pressed on his shoulders, mixed with genuine excitement about the charitable cause that had brought them all together. The crowd represented every corner of the community. There was Mrs. Rodriguez, who had immigrated from Spain 30 years ago and now ran the beloved bakery on Main Street. Her teenage son, Carlos, stood beside her, trying to appear unimpressed but secretly thrilled. Next to them, elderly Mr. Jameson leaned heavily on his walking stick, his military medals polished and proudly displayed on his jacket lapel. As the clock moved past 9:15, a subtle change rippled through the gathering. Conversations became quieter, and people began craning their necks toward the main road. Security personnel spoke into their earpieces with increasing frequency, and the cathedral staff took their positions near the entrance. The anticipation was almost tangible, like electricity in the air before a storm. Young Emma noticed it first, the distant sound of motorcycles approaching. Her grandmother squeezed her hand gently as they both strained to see past the heads in front of them. The police motorcycles appeared first, their riders professional and alert, as they cleared the final approach to the cathedral. Behind them, sleek black vehicles moved with quiet precision through the ancient streets. The crowd collectively inhaled as the motorcade slowed near the cathedral entrance. Every phone camera raised simultaneously, creating a sea of glowing screens. Children were lifted onto shoulders for better views, and elderly spectators found themselves supported by younger neighbors who wanted to ensure everyone could witness this moment. Margaret felt tears prick her eyes as she remembered bringing her own daughter to see the Queen decades earlier. Now here she was, sharing this experience with her granddaughter, creating a new memory that would span generations. The continuity of tradition, the passing of wonder from old to young, filled her heart with warmth that had nothing to do with the morning sunshine. The first official vehicle came to a stop directly in front of the cathedral steps. Security officers emerged with practiced efficiency, their eyes scanning the crowd and surroundings with professional attention. The crowd's excitement was palpable but respectful, a testament to the genuine affection these royal visitors inspired in their subjects. From her position near the front, Emma could see the cathedral doors standing open, revealing the beautiful interior with its stained glass windows catching and scattering colored light like jewels. Flowers had been arranged on either side of the entrance, their fragrance mixing with the crisp morning air. Everything was perfect, prepared with loving attention to detail by volunteers who had worked through the night. The moment stretched like held breath as everyone waited for the car doors to open. This was more than curiosity about celebrity. This was about connection to something larger than daily life. A shared sense of pride and continuity that bound the community together. In that pause before the doors opened, hundreds of individual stories merged into one collective experience of anticipation and joy. The car door opened with a soft click that somehow carried across the silent courtyard. A polished black shoe appeared first, followed by a navy trouser leg, and then Prince William emerged into the morning light. He paused for just a moment, his eyes sweeping across the crowd with genuine warmth before turning to assist his wife. The gathering held its collective breath as the Duchess of Cambridge stepped gracefully from the vehicle. Catherine appeared like a vision in a flowing emerald dress that caught the morning light and seemed to shimmer with each movement. Her hair fell in perfect waves over her shoulders, and her smile lit up her entire face as she took in the assembled crowd. She carried herself with natural grace that made even simple movements appear choreographed. Yet there was nothing artificial about her genuine delight at seeing so many people gathered to welcome them. The silence that followed was profound and unexpected. Usually, royal visits brought cheers and applause, excited voices calling out greetings and requests for attention. But this moment felt different, sacred almost, as if the crowd instinctively understood they were witnessing something extraordinary. Even the children stood quietly, their eyes wide with wonder as they took in every detail of this fairy tale moment. Margaret Thompson felt her breath catch in her throat. She had seen photographs and television footage countless times, but nothing had prepared her for the reality of their presence. There was something luminous about them, a quality that photographs could never capture. They seemed to radiate warmth and kindness, making even the largest crowd feel intimate and personal. Little Emma tugged on her grandmother's dress, whispering so quietly only Margaret could hear, "They look like real prince and princess from my storybooks." Margaret squeezed her granddaughter's hand, understanding exactly what she meant. There was something timeless about this moment, something that connected fairy tales to reality in the most beautiful way possible. Prince William moved with confident ease, his posture straight but relaxed as he surveyed the crowd. His smile reached his eyes, creating genuine connection with people he had never met but clearly cared about. He raised his hand in a gentle wave, and the gesture was returned by hundreds of hands throughout the crowd, creating a moment of perfect unity between royalty and citizens. Catherine stepped forward slightly, her own hand rising in greeting. Her engagement ring caught the morning light, sending tiny rainbows dancing across the stone steps of the cathedral. She seemed to make eye contact with individuals throughout the crowd, her gaze lingering on the children's faces with special tenderness. There was something maternal and nurturing about her presence that made everyone feel welcomed and valued. Father Michael approached them with measured steps, his own nervousness melting away in the face of their obvious warmth and approachability. Prince William extended his hand first, greeting the priest with genuine respect and interest. Catherine followed, her handshake accompanied by words too quiet for the crowd to hear but clearly heartfelt based on Father Michael's beaming response. The royal couple began their walk toward the cathedral entrance, moving slowly enough for everyone to truly see them. Their pace was deliberate, respectful of the occasion, and the people who had gathered to greet them. They paused frequently, Prince William pointing out details of the cathedral's architecture to his wife, their quiet conversation adding to the intimate atmosphere of the moment. As they walked, Catherine's dress moved like liquid silk, the emerald fabric flowing gracefully with each step. Her choice of color seemed perfect for the occasion, rich and regal without being overwhelming, sophisticated yet approachable. Every detail of her appearance had been carefully considered, yet she wore her elegance so naturally that it never felt calculated or artificial. The crowd began to move slightly, each person trying to get the best possible view while remaining respectful of their neighbors. Parents lifted children higher, and elderly spectators found themselves gently supported by younger hands. The community spirit was as beautiful as the royal presence, everyone working together to ensure this moment could be shared and remembered by all. Prince William paused near a section where several military veterans stood proudly in their uniforms. He approached the barrier, separating him from the crowd, and spent several minutes speaking with each veteran individually. His genuine interest in their service and their stories was evident in his body language and the time he took with each conversation. These were not photo opportunities but real human connections. Catherine moved to a different section where families with young children had gathered. She knelt down to speak with several of the little ones, her natural way with children immediately apparent. The children responded to her warmth, their initial shyness melting away as she asked about their drawings and listened to their excited chatter about school and their pets. The beauty of this interaction wasn't just in their individual grace and kindness, but in how they worked together as a team. Without any visible coordination, they instinctively divided their attention to reach as many people as possible, each playing to their natural strengths while supporting the other's efforts. Their partnership was evident in every glance they shared and every smile they exchanged. Mrs. Rodriguez from the bakery found herself fighting back tears as she watched Catherine speak with her neighbor's daughter about the little girl's ambition to become a teacher. The Duchess listened with genuine attention, asking thoughtful questions and offering encouragement that would be remembered long after this day ended. This wasn't royal duty being performed. This was authentic human caring being shared. The cathedral bells began to chime again, marking the half-hour and gently reminding everyone that there was a schedule to follow. But neither William nor Catherine showed any sign of rushing. They continued their conversations with the crowd, taking time for photographs and accepting flowers from children who had picked them specially for this occasion. As the royal couple prepared to enter the cathedral, something extraordinary happened that no one could have planned or predicted. A small girl, perhaps 5 years old, broke free from her mother's gentle grip and ran toward the barrier. Security moved quickly, but Catherine noticed first, immediately stepping forward with her arms open to greet the child, rather than allowing her to be turned away. The little girl had brought a drawing she had made especially for the visit. Her artwork showed 2 figures in a garden surrounded by flowers, with "Thank you for making people happy" written in crayon across the top in unsteady letters. Catherine knelt down to accept the gift, studying the picture with the same attention she might give to a masterpiece in a gallery. Her genuine delight in receiving this simple tribute moved many in the crowd to tears. Prince William joined his wife, also kneeling to speak with the young artist. Together they admired every detail of the drawing, asking about the colors she had chosen and the story behind her creation. The child's initial nervousness disappeared completely as she found herself engaged in serious conversation with 2 of the most famous people in the world, who were treating her artwork as the precious gift it truly was. This moment captured everything beautiful about the morning's events. Here were people born into extraordinary privilege, using their position not to create distance but to bridge it, not to elevate themselves but to elevate others. The image of the future King and Queen of England, kneeling in the dirt to speak at eye level with a small child, would be remembered long after formal speeches and official ceremonies were forgotten. Margaret Thompson watched this interaction with her granddaughter Emma pressed against her side. She could feel the little girl's excitement and wonder, and knew this memory would stay with Emma for the rest of her life. These were the moments that created lifelong monarchists, not through propaganda or ceremony, but through genuine human connection and kindness witnessed firsthand. As they finally began moving toward the cathedral entrance, both William and Catherine continued to acknowledge the crowd. They waved to people in upper windows, smiled at photographers, and generally radiated the kind of warmth that made everyone present feel they had participated in something truly special. Their body language suggested they were as genuinely happy to be there as everyone was to see them. Father Michael waited at the cathedral doors, his face glowing with pride at how beautifully this moment was unfolding. He had worried about logistics and protocol, but what he was witnessing transcended all such concerns. This was about human connection, about the best aspects of both royalty and citizenship being displayed in perfect harmony. The cathedral's interior had been prepared with loving attention to detail. Local volunteers had worked for days arranging flowers, polishing brass, and ensuring every surface gleamed. The afternoon light streaming through the stained glass windows created pools of colored brilliance on the stone floor, and the entire space seemed to glow with warmth and welcome. As the royal couple crossed the threshold, they paused to admire the church's beauty. Catherine's eyes were immediately drawn to the windows, their artistic beauty clearly moving her. William pointed out architectural details, his genuine interest in history and craftsmanship evident in his questions to Father Michael about the building's origins and renovation. Behind them, the crowd remained gathered in the courtyard, reluctant to disperse and end this magical morning. Parents snapped final photographs while children compared the flowers and small gifts they had received when the royal couple had stopped to greet them. The community had shared something beautiful together, and no one wanted to let go of that feeling too quickly. Inside the cathedral, William and Catherine were being introduced to local dignitaries and volunteers who had made the day possible. Each introduction was treated with the same warmth and attention they had shown to everyone else. They thanked flower arrangers by name, complimented the choir on their earlier rehearsal they had overheard, and generally made everyone feel valued and appreciated for their contributions. The official purpose of their visit was to support a local charity that provided educational opportunities for disadvantaged children. As they learned about the organization's work, both William and Catherine asked detailed questions that demonstrated they had done their homework and genuinely cared about understanding the issues. This wasn't a photo opportunity for them. It was meaningful engagement with causes close to their hearts. Young Emma, still standing with her grandmother outside, refused to leave, even as other families began walking back toward town. She kept looking at the cathedral doors, hoping for one more glimpse of the real-life princess she had just seen. Margaret understood her granddaughter's reluctance to end this perfect morning, and was content to wait as long as the little girl needed. The beauty of what had unfolded went far beyond the spectacle of celebrity or the formality of royal protocol. It was about the recognition that in a world often divided by politics, economics, and social barriers, there could still be moments of pure human connection. The royal couple had used their platform not to separate themselves from others but to celebrate shared values of kindness, community, and care for one another. Local shop owners began reopening their stores, each with stories to tell about glimpses they had caught of the royal visitors. The bakery sold out of celebration cakes within hours, and the flower shop couldn't keep up with demand as people wanted to recreate the beautiful arrangements they had seen at the cathedral. The entire town buzzed with positive energy that would last for weeks. As afternoon approached and the official visit continued inside the cathedral, the crowd finally began to thin. But the impact of the morning would remain with everyone who had witnessed it. Children would draw pictures of the beautiful princess in the emerald dress, while adults would share stories of royal kindness that restored their faith in both monarchy and humanity. Margaret finally allowed Emma to be led away, promising they would frame the drawing the little girl had made inspired by meeting real royalty. As they walked home together, the elderly woman reflected on how rare and precious such moments were, when the ordinary world was touched by something truly extraordinary, leaving everyone who witnessed it a little more hopeful about the goodness that still existed in the world.